Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Pardon the sunglasses. I typically don't wear shades on stream. I'm not one of those guys. But I've been doing a lot of work at my computer and I've got some eye strain. So this helps. Helps out. So I hope you're doing well. Been quite busy working on some new products. Had to get off fucking Gumroad because they were fucking me, censoring my work, and I wasn't making sales. My sales kept going down, down, down. I'm like, what the hell is going on here, guys? Cards weren't going through. People couldn't make purchases, so I think I got blacklisted. So fuck those guys. And opened up a new store, which you can find in the description of the video. Let's see here. I'm working with a new submissive, and she's very green with a number of things, but very enthusiastic, has a good head on her shoulders, very open-minded, takes well to instruction, and that's kind of what we're getting into today. I mean, not exactly BDSM stuff, but it always translates. Right? It always translates over, no matter what you're doing with as a man, and what sort of relationship structure you're in. So we're going to be talking about high or low high interest women, and how to deal with them and what their importance is. So yeah, that's what we're getting into. Because it's important to know these things, because then you can act more freely. Okay, so for example, I had a client. Well, he's still a client, but I have a client, and he was taking a more easygoing approach to talking to women. Okay, he does okay. He does quite well. He's got a great profile. He's good looking. He takes care of himself. And but would just have a very chill attitude towards messaging women on dating apps. His opening conversation was just very easygoing and so on. And he would just kind of let things unfold. And I said, you know what? Why don't you twist the throttle a little bit? Right? Because you don't know these girls. At the very worst, they will report you and you'll get blocked. And who gives a shit? It's a fucking dating app. So I was like, just be more bold, be sexual, right? But not crass. I want to stick my dick in your mouth, nothing like that. But you can insinuate that's very, very close. You've got some very cute dick sucking lips, or DSLs, right? Or I told him to try this one. You look like the kind of girl who loves being tossed around like a rag doll. As the very first thing you say. No hello, no my name is, no any of that stuff. Just the first thing. You look like the kind of girl who likes to get tossed around like a rag doll, or enjoys being tossed around like a rag doll. And I would say 3 out of 5 would be so into it. And they're like, whoa, really? Or sometimes, yeah, actually I am. Or that's quite bold of you. Something to the effect of either surprise or engagement or something like that. Only a couple were put off by it, saying stuff like, well, how do you go about talking to a lady, that sort of thing. And that's fine. They're allowed to have whatever reaction they're going to have. But when you're communicating and behaving authentically, and you're not hiding behind nonsense, hey, I noticed that purple dress you're wearing on their third picture. You looked really good in that. And lo and behold, purple is my favorite color. That's nonsense. That's utter nonsense. I've straight up messaged girls, what size are your tits? When they've got big tits, it's obvious they've got huge tits, and they're like, oh, I'm a D cup. And those would look really cute bouncing on daddy's lap. And probably about half the time, the girls are like, "Hee hee hee hee, that's so funny, that's so funny, hee hee." And then the other half get offended. Who cares? Let them get offended. They have that right. Okay, it's no problem for me, because what that does is it quickly weeds out the low interest women. The medium interest women, they will kind of play along. Maybe they'll banter a little bit. Maybe they'll test to see if I'm really that guy, or if I'm just, sending out a line and I'm really not that guy, which is fine, right? As Steve likes to say, women often bite the gold to see if you're real gold or fool's gold. Okay, because real gold is quite soft, especially the higher carat. Or wait, or is it the lower carat? I can't remember. But the more pure gold is, the softer it gets. And so the high interest women, they don't have any kind of pushback. Maybe they'll get a little bit shy, a little embarrassed, but they're not running away. They're not turning around. And I think where guys get really hung up is, on one hand, I think, yes, they may want to have interaction with a high interest woman, but it's almost like someone hands them the keys to a Lamborghini and they're like, all right, go have fun. And so the guy's nervous. He's been dreaming about having a nice afternoon drive in a high performance sports car, but the actuality happening, he fucking freezes up. And it's like, well, yeah, because you're not conditioned for it. Like, you may want it, but the rest of you isn't ready to handle that sort of reality. Okay. And so a lot of you guys would love to have a woman who has super high interest, super open-minded, super enthusiastic to learn from you, to follow you, to do whatever it is, to put a smile on your face. And so you want this, and you think that's the right thing, which I believe it is. But if you actually get it, I think a lot of guys would be completely frozen. They would not know what to do, or their lust would take over. And they're like, oh my God, great, let's get to fucking. And no, that's not what you do at all. Not at all. What you do at that point is you start leading her mind. Okay? Because what do I tell you guys? What's the thing that I tell you about leverage? If you remember, anytime, in any instance, sexual or non, woman, man, it doesn't matter, children, whoever has a high desire for something, this then translates to leverage for whoever's holding the thing that is desired in any situation. And then it comes down to, what do you want to do with that leverage? Do you want to make them do a certain something? Do you want to make them feel a certain something? Do you want to make them think a certain something or perceive a certain something? This then calls into question your ability to take that energy, that raw energy of desire, and transmute it into something else. Transmute its direction as well as its intent or the outcome. And you can't do this, excuse me, you can't do this if you are really lustful, because your dick is just gonna be like, no, just put it in a hole, make it happen. Come on, man. She wants it. She wants to get on your dick, right? And that's fine. That's natural. That's what your body and your instincts want you to do. Okay, but the work that I'm doing, the stuff that I'm trying to help you guys achieve, is bringing yourself out of the level of animal. Okay, you can always tap into your animal nature later when you're in the bedroom, and let's say you have a strong primal instinct and you just want to rip her clothes off and leave bite marks and growl and drool on her. Like, that's fine. Like, you can let that unleash at another time. But aside from that, you should be controlling and harnessing that animalistic instinct, leading with a more creative mind, a more strategic mind, in such a way that not only benefits you, but it benefits the girl, because then she starts getting emotional responses within her being that is positive when she is following along. So she gets to feel good through your leadership, through the things that you do based off of the fuel of her desire, right? So her desire is high, you leverage it into certain things that make her, do whatever you like, which is based around your program, your desires, your kinks and things of that nature. And this then helps her feel good about listening, right? And it starts creating this loop. It starts creating this great loop for her of when I listen to him, I feel good. I feel better about myself. And that's what you want. You can't do that if your dick is leading the charge. Okay. You can always get your dick involved later. It's not that big of a deal. Okay. Let me know if my background music gets a little too high, or if you can't hear it at all. Let me know. So, what I've noticed so there's that one aspect of basically fear of failure, right? You come across a woman with very high interest and you freeze, or you get too hungry and you want to have sex right away. And this is not the way of a grounded man. This is not the way of dominance. Okay? Dominance is not about her body. Dominating a woman's body is so fucking easy. It's so easy. And women, especially today with their, sexual liberation and, hoe culture and all this stuff, women can easily submit their bodies. So easily. But not their mind and not their heart. So this is where you go for it. This is where you leverage in and you want to you just walk right past her body. Like, that's fine, not interested right now. And you start piercing into her mind. You start piercing into her heart. And with those leverage points, her body will do anything. Anything at all. Let's see here. Background music is high, but we are able to hear you over the music. All right, thanks. Thanks, Nicholas. I will lower it a bit. Okay. Yeah, I want it to be there, but not too distracting. Cool. All right, so so something I notice, like in especially the PUA community. In PUA, it's with this mindset that I need to do some extra stuff, right? I need to wear a boa, right? I need to peacock. I need to wear an interesting hat. I need to wear cool sunglasses. I need to have, just some sort of glitz about me that draws attention to me. Okay. And all of these things that have to do with, all right, I got you, Adventures. Thank you. So all of these things that that have to do with first getting her attention, then doing things that have to contend with her, like you have to deal with her shit tests. These are the 10 ways to deal with a woman's shit tests. Okay. Learning to spike her emotions, right? Like this old classic one where you tell a positive story followed by a sad story, followed by a positive story, followed by a sad story. And she's like emotionally being drawn like up and down like a roller coaster. Okay. This is like all of these tactics and things, they come from a base perception, a base belief that I'm not good enough, that the woman is in a superior position to me, and I need to prove myself to her. Okay? Or I have to manipulate her into liking me or trick her into liking me. Okay? I have to do these things to make her come down and me come up so that we're at eye level. Okay? What I've noticed is that so that's one thing is when you're in this mindset of I've got to. Sorry about When you're in the mindset of having to exercise these tactics in order to gain the approval and the attention from a girl, from the get-go, you have a woman above you. You've got a woman above you in that position. And because if you didn't feel this way, then naturally you wouldn't even be thinking of, I need to have these tactics. I need to learn how to deal with shit tests. I need to be able to manipulate her and tell these stories and wear colorful shit and, try to like create all this external stuff in order to put myself in a position that makes me less rejectable. Okay. And this is just faulty thinking. This is not the way a grounded man thinks. This is not how James Bond would be thinking. This is not about how like Conan the Barbarian would be thinking. It's just, this is how I am. I'm going to continue as I like. I'm going to communicate as I like. And if she's interested, she's interested. If she wants to banter a little bit, cool. If she's not interested, whatever, who cares? And so for these like low and medium interest women, this is where the whole PUA tactics mentality is fitting. This is their whole arena of women, is low and high interest women. That's what their focus is. Low and medium interest women. With high interest women, you barely have to do anything. You can be genuine to yourself. You do not have to impress. You don't have to go over the top, okay? Because they're just genuinely interested in you. They want to know who you are. They want to get to know the details of your life. They're sexually attracted to you. And then here's the thing. That's when you can really feel that leverage point. And this is when you guiding this, especially if you can control your strong urges, you can start moving things in the way that you like. You can start playing with her mind. You can start playing with her body, having her play with her body. Start making associations with certain words and how they make her feel, certain actions and how they make her feel, okay? And it's effortless because she wants to be part of this, okay? So where the seduction and PUA community is coming from is they say, well, this is how you seduce women. And what that says to me is, this is how you seduce women who are not interested in you. For me, I don't fuck with any women that are not hell yes. If it's not a hell yes, it might as well be a no. I want locked in 100% interest. That's it. Now, does that mean that my volume is lower? Of course it does. And quite frankly, I don't want 10 high interest women. Do you know what a fucking headache that is? I would have to just scrape them off with a fucking spatula, right? 2, 3 max. That's all you need. 2 to 3 high interest women. That will keep you duly entertained for a very long time. Trust me. Right? So I'd rather have that than 100 low to medium interest women. Right? Because that level of interaction is like skipping a stone across the surface of a lake. Right? It's just like little bits of interaction that doesn't really grab anything. Okay? Like, I want that stone to not skip and start sinking down to the bottom of the lake, down into the muck, into the darkness. That's where I want to be. I want to conquer her mind, where she is either saying, I don't know what's happening to me, or she doesn't realize what's happening to her, and she's falling deeper and deeper and deeper into my world. And the reason why it's not noticed is that she just feels good the whole way, right? Women do and say based around how they feel. So if they're feeling good, they're going to continue doing what they're doing. We'll start doing call-ins. Not enough people come through, honestly. Like during the lives, many people watch after the lives. But thank you, Adventures of D. I would like to, but there's really not a whole lot of people during the lives usually. But that's okay. That's quite all right. I mean, if anybody wants to come up and I can just add them to the stage, they can keep their camera off if they want. But if anybody has any questions, just the easiest thing would be to put them in the chat. What I was thinking about doing is inviting people on to have live coaching sessions. Like for anyone who's brave enough to expose themselves. Again, that doesn't have to be done with the camera on. You can keep your camera off and just be on mic and have a coaching session and just be up here for, at the bare minimum of 30 minutes while we talk about your shit. So people can see really like what it's like to, have the layers of your mental onion peeled away. Because that's really what it's about. It's not about, this is interesting. Coaching, a lot of people think coaching is about me giving you skills in order to do something. Okay. And technically speaking, it's not coaching, it's actually mentorship. Because mentorship involves life experience and things of that nature. So it's not adding. All right. The adding comes way later. Okay. After months of work. Real mentorship is a process of removing shit, removing the things that are preventing you from seeing yourself properly, moving in life properly, having good interactions with people properly. It's a removal system first to just basically figure out what is it that's not working for you, what mental roadblocks are in the way, what beliefs you have about yourself, about women, about family, about society, about sex, about relationships. What are these things that you believe are preventing you from doing the things that you want to do? Okay. What fears do you have? What injuries do you have? What kind of scars are sitting on your soul, right? From back when you were like 6 years old. Like all of that stuff is really, really important. And if they're left unexamined, then it's very difficult to move forward. Okay. Because then if we add any skills on top of that without dismantling that old shit, then what happens is the skills that are placed on top, they become modified by the misaligned foundation and it starts coloring the new skills. So for example, if I'm working with a guy and he wants to learn how to deal with his program, okay, and we start getting into rule creation and he's like, okay, I want the rule to be like this. Okay. Like let's say a common one is my rule is for my woman, she needs to never go out with anyone except me. Like if she wants to go out for a drink, she goes out for a drink with me and only me. Okay. Perhaps her parents would be the only exception. No friends, no guy friends, definitely not no guy friends, and no girls. And that's it. That's the only rule. All right. Or that's the rule about her, behavior of going into bars or clubs or whatever. If he hasn't dealt with his fears around women, around attachment, around getting hurt, and his nice guy syndrome and how that's translating into him wanting to possess the woman so strongly such that she can't do anything that could possibly hurt him, like mom did, okay, and fuck with his trust the way mom did, then the rules that he's making without having dealt with all that foundational stuff is now affecting his rules. They're not real rules based on principle. They're rules based around fear of rejection, rules based around fear of pain. They're fear-based or anger-based or pain-based. So these aren't real rules based on true principles of a grounded man. So you want to move forward, you want to grow, you're going to have to start looking at your shit. And it's not a fun or easy process. And it's not quick either. But this is the real path. You cannot operate cleanly until you fucking clear shit out. That's the way it is with everything. You can't start a new gym program and with the greatest program made by the fucking best trainer in the world. But if you're sleeping like shit, eating like shit, eating candy and doing drugs and drinking every day, how good is that program? It's worthless. Because all of those bad habits and those beliefs are going to challenge this perfectly refined thing that this professional made for you. Right? So that's why it's important to handle yourself on a foundational level. And oftentimes it's difficult because the one who is being examined is also the examiner. That's why it's difficult. There's only a few, like a small percentage of guys who have the type of introspection and ego separation that can do it on their own. Okay? This is why people like me, like myself and my associates are beneficial, because we can see things from the outside and we can direct from the outside. And you just have to listen, observe, learn, and do as we say. And that makes the process a whole lot easier. But without that, otherwise it's like, as Alan Watts says, pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps. It's sort of contradictory. It also takes longer. If you do have that ability, that natural ability, that's great, but it will still take longer than having a mentor. So back to low, medium, and high interest women. I would just keep your eyes open and pay attention to the low and medium interest women. It's very, very easy. And I think it's hard for guys because it's hard for guys because when they get any kind of, they're so starved. You're so starved for attention, which, by the way, if you're starved for attention, or you're feeling needy for attention, or you feel lonely, or you get super excited when a girl is talking to you, oh my gosh, she fucking replied to my message, clutching your pearls, right? That's actually a doorway. That's actually a doorway materializes, and it's like, whoa, wait a second, like, fuck the girl, what's this? What's that doorway? And you open it up, and you need to walk down that doorway, wondering, why am I needy when I don't have any attention from women? Why do I feel lonely? Why does my self-effacing internal dialogue get worse when I don't have any attention from women? And why do I get so fucking excited when I do have attention from women? You need to open that door and start going down that pathway. Forget her, right? She's just a tool in the game. That's it. And go down that pathway, because what you find down that dark tunnel will be vastly more valuable to you than any bit of pussy or anything, any action, any word that a woman can do for you. Completely. And you get through that and come back around, and you'll learn so much about yourself. It's much like the hero's journey. Well, because it is. Because enlightenment is all about self-actualization. And that's what game is about. Game is entirely about self-actualization. So with low interest women, you can readily see it. They will be delayed in their responses to you. There will be, you could just tell in the messages that there will not be very high excitement. All right. They will send one-liners, right? They'll send like a one-liner. They won't send a body of text. There will be no exclamation points. There'll be no smileys. There'll be no emojis. Smileys, I mean by like the old school way of, like, say, using a parentheses or parentheses with a hyphen, or lack of use of emojis. Like, they're just like straight text. It's one sentence or even one word. At that point, just politely excuse yourself from the situation. Say, Janet, it was nice meeting you, but I don't think this is going to work out. And you just leave. Don't block her number. Don't block her on the app. Don't ghost. Don't do any of that shit. Like, be upfront and just say, hey, Janet, you know what? I don't think this is a good match. I appreciate you. We'll see you around. And that's really just how you need to handle this. All this like blocking bullshit. It's like, what are you in fucking middle school? The only time I find that humorous is when I've got a girl and she's acting like a little girl, and she maybe gets upset or she gets flustered, and then she reverts into this annoyed, rebellious, childlike or teenage state, and she's like, I'm gonna block him. It's really cute to watch him revert into something like that, you know. And you know, that's like a little note to the mindset that you should be in, right? Is lighthearted. Don't take any of this shit seriously. And just view them as like cute, silly girls, right? Even the ones that are being bitchy, the ones that are having low interest, medium interest, high interest, across the board, they're just being silly, cute little girls. And this you really have to remind yourself and maintain this mentality, because when you do this, it by default, it raises you up. It puts you in a different state, right? Because when we change our perceptions, we change our state. And if you can consistently maintain this state, then you're going to benefit. All right. And, you know, I've got this guy, he's like getting some coaching, but it's light, you know, he's not really in the program, but I give him a little bit of advice when he calls up. He's young. He's like 23 years old or something like that. And he gets a smattering of women. Like this kid, he's on fire. Like he's like talking to girls constantly, multiple times a day, just trying to get his chops up and get comfortable. Like that's what that's all about. Like when you hear coaches say, hey, get out and talk to 5, 10, 15 women a day, it's not about getting them. It's not about conversion rates or any bullshit like that. What it's about is doing the thing enough to the point where you become emotionally comfortable, where you become unfazed by the situation, by the interactions. And it's just another walk in the park for you to walk up to a girl who's a complete stranger and start having a conversation. That's what that's all about, the whole volume approach. And it just so happens that you might get some dates out of it, okay? But again, as you often hear, the game's all about you. It's not about the outcomes with the woman. It's about the outcomes with yourself. And over time, you get more and more and more comfortable. And that's what it's about. That's part of getting centered and grounded within yourself, is comfort, is a sense of ease, a sense of inner peace, where you can go anywhere, do anything, and you're not going to feel fear. You're not going to feel anxiety. You're not going to feel any sort of tightness in your body. Everything is just relaxed. And you don't have to fucking fake it, because you actually are relaxed. All right? This comes through exposure therapy, basically. And you can't have exposure therapy by watching videos or listening to podcasts or reading books. Like, you actually have to expose your psyche to the actual thing that you're reading so vehemently about. Okay? You have to do it. So this kid, you know, he's out there. He's on the streets. He's talking to a lot of women. And he gets, I would say, like 70%, maybe even 80% of like low to medium interest women. And then every so often, a high interest girl will pop in there. And I'm like, look, see. Observe their behavior. Look at their messages. Look at the tone and the feel and how they're coming at you. Like, whenever you see this kind from these groups, just simply ignore them. Pass them by. Just sweep them off your porch. Like they're little bugs. Only keep these high interest girls. Yes, there's only a couple. But who gives a fuck? Right? I mean, granted, like, I work in the world of power dynamics and BDSM and things like that, and things are a little bit different, okay? They're a little bit different. But experiencing a woman having super high fucking devotion, where they are just in a constant state of gratitude for simply being in your presence, whether it's physical presence or distance, right? Because I have distance submissives, right? There's young lady from the Far East, India, South America, and they are all fucking in. Their chips are like totally pushed into the middle of the fucking table. And they're like, I'm here. I'm for this. And they're all like, I don't even care if I ever meet you. That's not important. I just want your energy. I want to feel and I want to live in your energy as long as you're directing me. So let's see what this one said. I gave her all right. Just this one's given her an assignment and she's just coming back to me, you know. And so that's the thing, right? So again, a low and medium interest girl, she's not going to take very nicely to you giving her assignments. They're going to be like, what? What are you talking about? Okay. The thing is with a high interest girl is that you're going to have to give them assignments. You're going to have to keep them busy because when they're super high interest, they're going to think about you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're going to be thinking of ways to impress you. They're going to be thinking of ways to make you happy. They're going to make sure that they're always in your like good graces and approval. And there's going to be so much of their energy, both from a consuming position and wanting to give to you position, that you're going to have to instruct. You're going to have to give them shit to do, right? So like I was like, okay, I see this girl has some interest. She needs to interact. She needs to do something for me. She needs to please me, but I'm fucking busy. All right. So what do? I give her assignments. She's a writer. So I'm like, okay, you're going to give me haikus throughout the day. All right. I made sure she knew how to write haikus. And then I said, I want you to give me 5 haikus, like periodically throughout the day. And so this is her assignment. So she had to kind of research, she had to stop and think, because it's not just like banging them out. You have to think and like feel, because you like haikus are actually kind of challenging because you have to filter things down to just a few syllables and be able to convey a full mood with just a few words, right? So I knew that it would be time consuming and she would take it seriously with, you know, because of just her level of interest and her level of devotion. So from here, it takes away time. She's off in the corner doing something, just like a little kid. Like you got shit to do and your kid's like, hey, daddy, can I come play with me? Can I do this? I want to do that. And you're like, hey, all right, this is what you're going to do. And you give them like fun assignments for them to complete. And then they're out of your fucking hair. But here's the thing. The leadership is actually something that's going to benefit them. So not only they're benefiting from your leadership from an emotional standpoint, because like, oh, he's paying attention to me, he's giving me instructions and all that shit. It's also something that's good for their development. You could send them to the gym. You could send them on a research quest to collect 10 new recipes that you think that like I would like. All right. Anything that's going to take time. You just send them on a quest, and typically the best thing is to have that quest be beneficial for them. So now there's all these anchors linking positive feeling and growth to you. And you know why that's so great? Because most guys don't do that, because they're so happy to just at least have some pussy on deck that they can possibly or potentially fuck. They don't really utilize the leverage. When they do have it, they waste it. They waste it on fucking. And it's like, bro, you don't realize that when you do that, it increases their desire, because now you're setting up another portal of approval. And if it's to your standards, oh, that's great. No, you know what? This one needs some work. Go rewrite it. If she's got high interest, she's gonna fucking rewrite that shit. You know? So there's a lot. There's a lot you can do, right? And you can The high interest is what allows you to express yourself. It creates portals so that you can express yourself. So let me see here. What did you say? Felt painful at first when I put it in serious slight pain, but nothing I couldn't handle. It's quite a strange sensation being the first time. Yeah, I'll just put this in the audio here. Good girl. Period. I'm happy that you've kept an open mind. So I'm just having this one experiment with things that she's not accustomed to and giving me reports on her experience of herself, right? So that's also some shit that you got to do. Well, you don't have to, but it's helpful because it shows them that they're worthy of. I think this is it. You guys got me? Check 1, 2.
Oh shit. Dreadlocks.
1, 2. How are we doing? Hopefully this is better. Okay, good. Thank you, SL. Let me hit this question by Unique. Thank you, brother. Fortunately, many guys need validation from women because they've never experienced real interest from women. They get blinded by a smile without knowing what is really behind the smile. Well, they seek the validation from women and get super excited or scared from success and all that shit. It's not because they haven't experienced it from real women, real interest from women. It's because they've got mom issues. Like, that's the root foundation. This is the first relationship that a boy learns of the opposite sex. And if it's fucked up, whether say she's overbearing, he's constantly trying to prove himself to her. He's never good enough in her eyes. Or if she's super critical, or if she coddled him and never allowed him to grow or skin his knees, either figuratively or literally, then he'll be in a weakened position. He's never been able to grow. So he's always seeking her approval, looking for that nurturing mommy. Okay. And whichever it is, either he's had it or he didn't have it, what that translates to is a guy who's looking for it. He's looking for that comfortable place to rest his weary head upon her bosom. All right. And that comes from either having it and seeking it because that's what's familiar, or not having it and seeking it because he didn't have it when he was a kid. And so this is why guys are looking for validation. It has nothing to do with the woman that's in front of you. It has to do with the woman that's been in your head for a long time. And then guys are like, well, how do I get these bitches into bed? It's like, yeah, but you're a hungry little boy. You don't actually want to get these women into bed. You want to have sex with them so that you can feel better. You can feel better about yourself. Like, most dudes are fucked up in that way. And I don't mean fucked up in like a critical sort of way. Just fucked up in the same way that, like, you know, if your carburetors are out of sync, the carburetors are fucked up. You know, I'm not judging them. They're just out of sync. And so guys are out of sync, right? And this is a plague that hits a lot of dudes. And it's you know, it's just name of the game. That's all it is. Yep. Yeah, guys obsessed with receipts. Yeah, I mean, it could be. This is really also linked to proving it to other men who are also in the same boat, which is strange, right? So it's a bunch of dudes who have low confidence, you know, a fairly high level of self-rejection, because then they think, you know, receipts will make them feel better because they're looking for the nods from other men who are just like them. Isn't that bizarre? So it's like the blind leading the blind, right? And they're always looking, oh, show me receipts. I don't fucking believe you, because that's their reality. That's their reality. That's what they live in. So when someone comes up and is contrary to the reality that they live in, they're like, I need to see proof. Show me proof that another reality exists. All right. Come into my program. I'll show you proof. I'll show you some videos, man. This girl, the level of submission that you guys would never even think exists. Let's see what she says. Oh boy. Oh. Sorry, I'm just reading this question that she just sent me. It's very strange. It feels painful slightly, but still. So she's inquiring about butt play, and it was her first time ever playing with the other hole. And she's like, is it supposed to be painful? Like it's like, it was a little bit painful, a little strange, but you know, she's like, I don't understand why some people then seem to enjoy it. Like, how is that possible? And you know, so I have to explain to her what that actually, how to actually go about things so that it does become enjoyable. So I'm finishing up something, period. I will answer this question shortly. So yeah, that's right. And so that's kind of like how, like, guys would be like, oh my gosh, she's got such high interest. Hang on, let me just put down all my shit and start engaging with her. No, I'm doing something important. So, you know, I just say, hey, listen, I'm into doing something important. I'll answer this question shortly. You know, that's what she gets. You get what you get, and you don't get upset. Charlie Kiefer says, how to get past looking for validation. Also, I just came back over here, so not really sure how this channel works, but I'm here because I follow Lucario. Happy Saturday regardless. All right, happy Saturday, Charlie, and thanks for the question. It's a process. Yeah, she has to wait. But I mean, I'm not even thinking of it in that way. Like, you know, I mean, I don't know your intention is behind that, Unique, but some can read that as being stiff-armed about it. And it's not really about that, right? It's just giving her the information so she knows where to put herself, right? That's what it's about. But getting back to Charlie's question, how do you get past looking for validation? It's a process of peeling away onions. It helps to have a mentor, right? Unless you have a great level of ego separation and a great skill of introspection and analysis. And so you can start with journaling and start asking questions why, and start asking why when you get to another point, and just start peeling things away and start having very, very honest conversation with yourself via your journal, or you can do voice stuff, whatever. But there's something unique that happens when you write things down and you can see it afterwards. And then the following week, you go back to looking at those things and go, wow, look at how I was thinking. Like, what do I think about how I was thinking? What's my opinion of this sort of thinking? And, is it judgmental? Is there fear involved? Is there pain involved? Is there shame involved? And start asking these questions. Why do I feel ashamed about, me uncovering the truth behind my, my apparent neediness, right? And so just start digging, right? And, and if it works within your budget, hire a mentor who you can, get some of these things dug around with you, right? So you just have to answer questions. And, so you can get in touch if you want. My email is justin@thedominanceacademy.com, and I'd be happy to answer questions in there. And you can set up some calls if that's what works for you. So yeah, I mean, the long and short of it is like, just don't fuck around with low and medium interest women. You should get out there a lot such that you become comfortable. And the side quest is that you get to filter out. You get to learn more, right? Because the more data you have, the more information you have, and you can make good decisions and good assessments from that high amount of information, right? The less information you have, then you're going to rely on other sources to tell you. And this is like what the whole incel culture does. This is what the red pill culture does. This is what the fucking black pill culture does. They don't have a whole lot of experience with women. They're not getting out and just fucking put the fucking Bowie knife in your mouth and start going through the jungle and just making messy action, which is one of my coaches for business told me. Says you can't make it perfect and then launch. Fuck it. Just launch and keep marching forward and just make changes as you go along. Yes, you're going to get fucked up along the way. Keep going. Make messy action. And that's really what you need to do as far as women go. Put the Bowie knife in your mouth and start trudging through the jungle, hacking and slashing, and scuff up your knees, get stung by insects, maybe a poisonous stink every now and then, and get to, just take messy action. Stop worrying about it being perfect, because that's your fear again. Fuck your fear. Fuck your feelings. Like, fear only works well when it comes to survival, right? Where you're like, I don't know if I should do this because it might kill me. Okay, there's where fear helps out. But other than that, other than like mortal wounding or death or severe injury, if it's not those things, then your fear shouldn't be involved. Not at all. Okay? So, with that, get out there, do a lot of approaches at a bare minimum 5 a day. All right. With apps, 20 a day. Sending out messages, 20 of them. Fuck these ones where you have to wait around for the match and all that stuff like Tinder. No. Use the apps that allow you to directly comment on a photo so you can take the initiative and get the conversation rolling. All right. And you could do 20 of those a day. You could do at the bare minimum 5 a day. Right. Of real IRL approaches. All right. If you do more than that, that's better. 10 to 20, if you can. Because I understand some of you guys live in very rural environments, maybe small towns where you can burn through the population in a week. So you might have to travel a little bit, get in the car, get on a train. Okay. And then you might, oh man, that's too much for these bitches. It's all about you. It's not about the women. So I hope this information was helpful for you. I think what I'm going to do, possibly, there's a little bit of a moral balancing act. Is that one of these girls? She's writing every other day. She writes a submissive diary entry that I have access to. It's a shared Google Doc, and she is just really opening up about her transformation from day one up until now. And she's very well written. She reads a ton, she writes a lot, she's extremely articulate, and they're just really beautiful, almost verging on poetic about how she describes her experience. And I'm thinking that would be kind of cool to put these together as separate entries, maybe for Substack or something like that, or Patreon. And each release is a new diary entry, so you can see what it's really like for in a woman's internal world of what it's like for her experience to experience a man that she feels trusting and devotional towards, what submission feels like on her end, right? Because you don't know. I have a good idea, I can kind of extrapolate what it might feel like, but seeing those words of her inner world as it's happening is truly profound. So I thought that might be helpful for guys and perhaps women as well, to see what the women could possibly be feeling, and to give you guys an idea of what a woman might be experiencing as she's going through your leadership and influence. Right? Because again, the knowledge, the more data you have, the more analysis, better choices you can make, and things of that nature. So with that, I'm going to leave you guys to chew on that stuff a little bit. Just only fuck with girls who have high interest. Remember, if it's not a fuck yes, it might as well be a no. And keep things moving forward. And the greater number of women that you talk to, that you're authentic with, the greater opportunity, the greater probability that you're going to come across a few women sprinkled here and there with high interest. And that's all you need. You just need 2 to 3 and you're good. I promise. 2 to 3 girls, high interest. And you don't have to make them high interest. They're just I'm in, let's go. What do you have for me? So if you get into that situation, you come across a girl who's got super high interest and you don't want to fuck it up because you want to put your dick in one of her holes so badly, get in touch with me as soon as that happens, and I can help you learn how to leverage her mind, how to leverage her heart, so that everyone's winning. Okay? All right, guys, have yourself a great weekend. I might come back on later tonight. I'm not sure. I want to get my rest up because I'm going on the first ride of the season tomorrow. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, keep a lookout. I might stream later on tonight. Maybe we'll get into spicier topics. All right. Until then, take it easy, guys.